All right, good morning, class. How are we doing today?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing fine.
I hope you can hear me.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. We are fine.
Thank you so much. May I ask if you can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. I also want to ask another question. For the new people, a lot of people came in yesterday, and I'm looking back, I only saw very few people this morning. May I ask if we have any new members joining us?
Yes.
May I know
Yes.
how many of us? Are we up to 5?
Ye- Yes, I'm raising up my hand. Yes.
Okay, I can't see the back and I don't want to look back. Okay, don't worry, let's just continue. Maybe you are the only. All right.
Meet your
All right, maybe behind, please, if your mic is open, you need to mute that now. I'm recording, you won't hear anything at the end of the day. Good. Maybe behind, I will ask that you just indicate on the platform that you're just joining us. I want to know the number of people just joining us. Mrs. Ajay, kindly let me have the record. The moment you have the record, just let me know. Behind, just indicate I'm just joining today behind. That's all.
Okay,
Just
sir.
on the WhatsApp, just indicate on the WhatsApp, I'm just joining today. I want to know that so that we know what to do, either to continue or to have a brush through. There's no point rolling back if we are very, very few, insignificant, then we'll know what to do. All right, let's pray together. Dear Lord in heaven, as we begin the lecture now, I pray that the Holy Spirit will guide us, give us the grace to understand every concept of the lesson. And it's so intensive. I pray that you give them understanding, that they will know all of this and be able to put it into practice. And they will be teachers of this course in all their ways. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, I want to appreciate everyone. We have put a lot of efforts. I've been up as early as uh, as early as 2 a.m., 1:30 to put things in order. The recording we do is not automatic. A lot of settings I did had to also disappear. I had to repeat again this morning on the table here, and so that's the effort. That's the effort. So it's not just an easy task. Taking this course, taking you through this course is not something easy. It's an additional task. It requires preparation. It requires ability to get contents to be able to deliver. It's an online thing. To be able to deliver well and carry everyone along. So, and I want to also appreciate those of us that have put in our effort one way or the other. And I know that this effort will not be in vain. Okay. So don't be tired. It's just a little push. Within the next 3-4 weeks, everything will be over. And I know we'll have people who will be able to teach others this course within this class at the end of the day. I have that assurance. I went through a number of assignments that we submitted, though I've not been able to open all, but I just glanced through so that I will have an idea of what people are responding. I'm so happy at your narratives, and it shows that reports are coming in, and that's how to write report anyway. Those of us that will write projects, that you'll be looking for analysis and looking for reporters as well, even if you cannot do it because of your time, not because you don't know. You should be able to know when your report is not adequate. So we do both together, right? So Mrs. Ajay, do you have a report for me now?
Sir, about three of them that I can see here.
Wow.
Phoebe Abioye, Alowun, Lebolaji, and
Come.
Kubola.
Can you imagine that? Anyway, because of those people, we have to do. Thank you. We'll do what we need to do. But after today, there's no going back. And just to let you know, we are on week 3 today. But I will ensure that those who are just joining us also have a glimpse of all that we have done before. and that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop at week 6. I may have to extend to more than that until the syllabus is adequately covered. Okay, so let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. Now, I just want to brush through what we have been doing, or where we should have started that we didn't start there, for the sake of those who don't even know this at all. We're going to start. Why are we using SPSS? SPSS is basically a software to analyze quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis. And when you are talking about quantitative analysis, you're talking about analysis that deals with what? Zeros and one. Zeros and one. Uh, this is not used for qualitative analysis. So if you are doing a quantitative analysis, this is one of the tools that you need to use to analyze your software. Okay, we have other tools such as R, programming. I also use R, and we also have Excel. We use Excel. Excel is not as powerful as this, though it's powerful too, but not as strong as what we have here, and easy going as what we have here. So those are some of the tools we use, and then we talk about. We started with descriptive statistics. Okay, so when you talk about description, what do we mean? Most of the time, when we set research questions and objective, we just want a description. A description. And when we talk about descriptive statistics, we just want to describe. So we have some tools that we normally use that are simple descriptive tools, like I have on the screen. May I ask if you can see my screen again?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes, sir.
I will be flipping across so many screens as we cover one topic. I go to the other, and all this, like last week, a number of people mentioned that most of the output screen were not covered. Yes, I tried to. That's part of the settings this morning, and I believe that all our screens today will be covered as I flip from one page to the other. That has been taken into consideration. So these are some of the basic tools we use for description, and good enough, a number of you have been use these tools in your assignment, and I will also give further assignment today that will enable us to use other tools. You may use, you want to see the description using a mean median mode, as we have on the screen there. Number one, which is called measures of central tendency. We saw that, and we also go through it again today briefly. And after that, when you talk about mean, another word for mean is average. I want to find the mean of people in my class now. Assuming you are 20, you are 20, and I have assigned number to you. Maybe as you come in, it's number 1, 2, 3. I will just add all of you together to get the mean. Add all of you together, and I will divide by the total number of people in class, which is 20. And I'm sure by the time I've given you 1, 2, 3 to 20, I add all that together. My total cannot be 20, and that is it. So we just divide by the total number of units, in the class. That is what will give us the mean. Normally, we use our calculators and all that for this, but this tool is just 1 click, 2 clicks, and you get your mean. The next one is the median. Median means middle number, which we saw last week when you arrange in order of what? Arrangement, which could be ascending or descending order. And the mode, most occurring frequency. We saw all that in our solution. We will also run through that this morning. After that, we go to measures of dispersion. Range. Range is the smallest minus what? The highest number in a class. That gives you the range. Variance too. Variance is there. And we have standard deviation. We have formulas for that. We have quarters. We have 30 quarter, 45, 90, and all that. And when you leave that down, all right, we have measures of position, such as percentile, quartiles, and zero scores. You leave that to another area where we have graphical representation. All these are just for descriptive tools. You want to describe your narrative, you can use all these in your description. Okay, and you wonder the other side. When we get there, I will tell you, which is likely that we get there today or next week. okay, which is basically next week. What we will still do after now is still on the description. The other concept is what is inferential statistics. There are two types of statistics analysis. We have the descriptive statistics and we have the inferential statistics. So, but for descriptive, simple description, okay, a simple analogy. You can use bars, bar chart. We will see that, and some of us have also seen that. We also see pie chart, histograms, line graph, box plot, and all others as we have them. All right. So I think that's all about. I just felt I should share this with us. Those of us with us last week, I'm sure we didn't have this access. We didn't have access to this note, but I felt it is needed. Okay. Just give me a minute. I need to switch. To the next note. All right. May I ask if you can see my screen again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I didn't switch the way I've switched, it's still going to be the same thing you saw last week. I'll just be speaking, you'll be capturing the voice without the images. Now, we also left that place. We came here to SPSS, When you open SPSS, I didn't want to close this because of my settings, but one of the things I've asked us to do is that you must have your installation in order. You must have your SPSS. Open your laptop and work with me. Do as I do, not as I say. All right? Saying, you may likely not do it. So please do as I do. All that I'm doing, also do the same, so that at the end of the series we're going to have, you say, yes, I can teach this course. I can solve X, Y, problem. No, I hope we have that. So when you open your SPSS, there are two views to it. And may I also still request after the class, if you don't have SPSS, wherever you are in the world, I have my drive that I can share with you. You can install, so you don't need to bother yourself about it. The earlier, the better. I know. All right. We have two views. We have the data view, and we have the variable view. I'm on the variable view now, and if you look at the other side, the first side is the data view. Data view is where you enter your data after you have designed your variable view. So we're going to see the difference between the two quickly. The variable view, just like I have here, is where you declare your variables you want to use. And by the way, this is what we call coding. For those of us who don't know SPSS, when you have gone to the field to capture your respondent using your instrument, and that was one of the assignments I gave this week. And I also exposed a number of us to the same thing, to do the same assignment. So for those of you just joining us, don't be too hard on yourself. You get everything. Your assignment will be double this week so that you can catch up with us. However, it's not a cast in stone assignment. It's not a do or die affair. If you cannot meet up this week, you can also, you carry it over to next week. But the main objective of it is you must complete the assignment. Doing the assignment, it's rigorous. You follow the video, it will really tell you what you are achieving. Okay? It's not that if you don't do it, I send you out. No. Or I ridicule you. No. It is for your own good. It's not because of the money, but I as a teacher, I do not like teaching my students, and at the end of the day, I don't get the best out of them. I want to see you tomorrow to be able to do better than what I'm doing today. That is always the objective of every teacher, and I've actually fallen into that category. So here what we do now is what we call coding. The moment you collect your questionnaire back from the field, you need to transmit it to the system. By next week, I'm going to show you other areas that how we can work in between Excel and SPSS, meaning that you can bring some things that you have coded in Excel, you can bring it in here. Even though at the end of the day, you may do few corrections, but this is what we call importing. So we see how we can import how we can also export. You can export your work from SPSS back to Excel, and you can also bring it in from Excel. We'll see how we can do that. And also next week, one of the things I want to show us is how to eliminate missing data. How to eliminate missing data. We'll see that as one of the tools next week. So for this morning, you want to code. Bringing your questionnaire back, it has been ticked by your respondent. Okay. One of the things that we do have in a questionnaire is the demographic variable. So assuming that we have a demographic variable here as age and gender and probably religion, occupation, and educational qualification. Now, I'm going to delete, I don't want to delete this because if I delete the first one, it's going to delete the record I have entered. So permit me not to delete that. But assuming you want to create your age, let's create another one. I think that's the best thing. Let's ethics. No. Can somebody give me a variable under demographic variable? Let's just create one more.
Marriage.
Okay, marital status. Okay, marriage. Now I just type marriage here. Spelling error. Marriage. Okay. I typed marriage here. I type marriage here. And I press enter. Now you discover that it automatically filled all the variables for us, even though sometimes they are wrong. Now there are two modes. Maybe I didn't say that last time, or I said it and we didn't, in case you didn't capture it. There are two ways of coding this. The first one is to observe the number of width and column like we have defined, which I'll also repeat briefly. Okay, we have marriage here. After marriage, the next one is the what? Name. Name of your variable is marriage. Name of the variable you are bringing in is marriage. The type of variable that marriage belongs to, is it numeric or what? Or something else? Mind you, before you can use SPSS to code, remember I say quantitative analysis deals with what? Do you remember? Can someone remind us? Deals with two variables. Thank you.
0 and 1.
Thank you. Zeros and ones. So if you change this now, I just click. If you click, you see other variable types. If you bring in something else that is not numeric here, it's not going to have influence in your result. For example, you bring in string. And those of you that know what string is all about letters from A to Z. An example of a letter is your name. If you bring in string here as a name, the SPSS cannot analyze string. So that is why most times we recode our string to what? To numbers, vice versa. But for this morning, what we have as marriage, we're going to leave it, even though marriage has to do with either married or what? Or single or what? Or divorce, etc. We can have 3, widow, widower, we can have 4 and all that. Okay, and more. But this morning, we're going to leave it as numeric. Numeric because we are not using those values like that. Marriage, marital status. When you get your questionnaire, you assign value to each of them. For instance, you can say marriage, which is marital status. Okay, married, you can say marriage is what? 1. Single is what? Is 2. Divorce is what? 3. You assign values because remember, quantitative has to do with what? Numbers. Okay. Now the next one here is width. Width means that what is the width of this marriage? What is the length of this character? Is it up to 10? You leave it as 10 here. Does it have numerical decimal places? The answer is what? Is no, it does not have. And the next one is what? What? Label. Most times people leave this empty. But I won't leave it empty because I will want to use this in my analysis later, which you will see. So I put this as what? I put this as marital status. Come again?
Marital status.
Marital status of the respondent.
Okay, thank you. Let's make it marital status. Marital status. And you will notice something. I was able to create a gap here. You can't do that here. You can't write 2 words here. leaving what? A space in between. The best you can do is to use ampersand, to use underscore. I believe you know what is underscore. Let me just marital status. Let me just do that here. Traditional marriage. Let me write traditional marriage for us. Traditional marriage. Now use underscore to say marriage. All right, I just did that. Without that underscore, it's not going to work. How? Let's try that. Now I want to clear this. I just click on it and I highlighted it and I clear it. Now let's try it again. Traditional marriage. It's going to complain. Variable what? Name contains what? An illegal character. So the only way to join two variables together under name is using what? Underscore only. Please take note of that. Thank God you have a video that you can always play times and times again. So I haven't stated the label. Label, you see where label is useful later. I'm sure those of us who are gurus in here, as we started earlier, you have noticed that. So when you leave label, what's the next thing? Sometimes too, people leave values, empty. They leave values empty because they want to use direct. They want to assume. They will just write it down on a paper. They will not code it here, but they will write it down on a paper and they will use that to interpret their document later. But that is not too good for a good researcher. Always have it documented so that anytime you can't even remember what you have used. You can always come back there. So for marriage here now, what are the classification of marriage, that we want to use? Apart from single, married, and all that, what are the other? We need to know them, and we need to assign value to them, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. Sometimes you use 0. It doesn't have any implication on what you are doing if you use 0. So how do you do that now? Just click on what? Click anywhere here, and something drops down, which we call value label. So I want someone to tell me the classification of the marriages we're going to have. And I'm going to start my value with 1. I'm not going to start with 0. So just take note of that. So I'm starting with 1. So what should be the label for 1? Married. So for marital status, I'm starting with what? Married. And the moment, which means in your questionnaire, anywhere you see married, you enter 1. Right? So that is the meaning of this. So I click on what? Add. We go back again. I'm going further with 2. So 2 should represent what, class? Single. And I click on add. And I'm going to number 3. 3 should represent what?
Divorce.
And I click on that. 4 should represent what?
Widow.
Thank you. And 5 should represent widower. Oh, okay. Any other point? Are we good to go? Okay, so I click OK. Jesus is Lord. All right. Number 6.
Baby.
We have 6. So I click OK. And they are there. So which means your instrument will determine what you enter under your what? Data view. We'll see that briefly. Then missing value. Leave that in next week. We don't have any missing value today. And I will show you something. There's going to be a data. When we finish this briefly, we'll go to something else today where that will be meaningful. On the column here, there's a difference between width and column. The difference here comes into situation when you use. There are times you don't have these values created. You use them directly. Single, married, cohabiting, and all that. Now you discover that the length of cohabiting, the character cohabiting, is likely to be bigger than the characters of what? Single. So that is what determines this volume. For example, cohabiting is how many characters? More than almost 10. Single is not up to that. So you can say, okay, the highest column of one of my character is 12. So I'm going to, by that, I'm going to leave this to what? To 12. The essence is this. If you don't create the highest, by the time you are having numbers that are high in character, the keyboard will reject your character. So you have to create provision, make provision available for it, even though it's just an assumption of what is to come. But right now, we have even limited all our variable to just one. But there are times you don't follow these values. You enter them directly, and we see an example of that today. I'm going to ask for a question later, so don't bother yourself. The next one we have is alignment. Alignment, I just click on one of the alignment structure here, and on the alignment here, I have the left, right, center, and it has to do with how do you arrange your what? Your text in terms of moving, flushing them left, flushing them at the center, and flushing it right. And after that, we go to a very, very important variable called measures. On the measures here, we have 3 here. Sometimes we can have 4, where scale is, we have another one added to scale, which could be ratio. But most times, when you have ratio, you don't have scale, or you have interval coming in. So we need to know when do we use this. And that's what I'm going to speak to you briefly. And we have a note. And I think I shared the note this morning on, okay, I didn't include, I'm not sure if I included scale measures, but if I don't, remind me.
They are there.
Thank you. God bless you.
It's there, sir.
Thank you so much. So please just go through the note later. But this course is hands-on. I don't major on theory, reading note. No, we translate notes into practical and understand it. So we analyze and we write reports. That's the essence of this work, so that you will know what to do. So for scale is used anywhere you have zeros or decimal values. That's just a summary. Your classification is in what? It's in zeros or what? Or decimal values. That's the interpretation. When you go into the note, there's a definition for that. So if you look at the marriage here we have is marriage. If you look at marriage, do you have anything? Does it amount to 0 in marriage? Is marriage anything numeric?
No.
No. By origin,
No.
marriage is never numeric. It's not like age. Age is. Please just mute. I will ask for your responses, which is good, the way you are speaking, but mute. No, unlike age is numeric, height is numeric, weight is numeric by nature. So all those I just mentioned will fall under scale. Now, if you look at marriage is actually in category. But the category that we, have explained, marriage classification, does not have. Please, can you mute? Thank you. The marriage classification we have here does not have. Please mute your profile. The recording is on, and you will not like the output later. The people that had the class last week, you know how you enjoy the one you have. So the marriage year classification, the structure we have on label, you discover that our value, it does not have. We cannot say, okay, because we use 1 for married, therefore marital, those who are married are greater than those who are single. No, that is not the classification we have here. So this has to be categorized, but in terms of the category, there is no priority on which one is higher than the other. That is the meaning. By the time you go and see the note, this note gives us the definition. Can someone give us the definition of is it ordinal now or of nominal? So marriage will be what?
Nominal.
It will be nominal.
Nominal.
So thank you. Can somebody give us the 2 definitions of nominal? Definitions of nominal.
It can be categorized but not ranked.
Thank you. That is the interpretation. What we have just done now, look at it here. We have categorized marriages or marriage into various categories here. But it is not rank. What do we mean by ranking? You cannot say those who, number 1, they are married because they are married, they are higher than number 2. No. There is no, you can't interpret that such here. It's not found. Okay, so that's it. That is why it is what? Category, but not ranked. So here we just choose what? Choose what? Nominal. And input, exactly, we want to input data. That's why this remains what? As input. By the time we go to output, it's not going to be input again, it's going to be output. Now, let me flip to the other side of it, where we have the ordinal. When we have categorization and rank, then we use ordinal. An example is what? Educational qualification. We cannot say someone who is in primary school is the same with someone who is in what? Who is a PhD holder. Or someone who does not have, who has informal education is in the same category with someone who has a what? Who has a PhD holder or who has a postgraduate degree. That is why it is both ranked and what? And class and categorized. It is categorized and also what? Ranked, because number 1 is not the same position with number 5. Now, may I ask if you understand this? If you do, fine. Further question, do you have question? This is
Yes, I
how
do.
this
I
is
have
how
a
we
question.
can, no problem. This is how we can code our data. The other method of coding data is you will not have these values at all. You will just enter your marriage, single, straight away without following number and all that. We'll see, there's an example. I think I have a practical illustration of such later, before the end of today. All right, let me take your questions as they come.
Thank you, sir. So I wanted to ask, ordinal, yes, it's categorized and it's ranked. But when you are imputing the values to, must it come in an order, like a ranking order?
No, it's provided you know it, provided you know the classification. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to.
Thank you, sir.
But personally, I'm major computer that we study was majorly on what? Mathematics. So I always want my concept to be arranged in order of magnitude from the lowest to the highest. Do we have any other question, class? I'm good. That's good. That's very, very great. And so I'm going to switch now. That's the end of, assuming that you are not creating more than this. If you are going to create 50, 70, I'm going to show you an example today where we have 200. And you just say, wow, how do you create 200? Yes, you create it. If it's going to take 2-3 days, you continue. You have to create it. So that's on variable. When you now have 200 variable data, you can imagine the number of what? Data view that you are going to have. Number of data records. So I switch into this other part and I come here. You discover that the one we just created is still blank because we have nothing here. Yesterday night, I think, or this morning, it was yesterday. Okay, well, yesterday night when I go home, someone asked a question on SPSS that he or she created and it was blank. In fact, the person screenshot it across my WhatsApp, but I couldn't. I was so tired. I slept very early. I couldn't open it. So I didn't know. Maybe at the end of the class, the person can still connect with me to see reasons if you have not found solution to it. Now you discover that we have defined this variable, and one of the variables that we have defined is still empty. You see the side is empty totally. We don't have anything there. So the only way is to what? Enter the record from your questionnaire. You remember we created 1 to what? 1 to 4. 1 to 5. Separation is there. So 1 to 5. All right? So what we are doing now, you cannot do it. That's why I give you an assignment to collect from your friends and, analyze. So I'm just going to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 again. Randomly. Don't ask me how I'm entering 1, 2, 3. It has no order. Please mute your profile. Mute your profile.
Please, I'm sorry.
Please
I'm
mute
lost.
your
I don't know
profile.
what you're doing here.
Please mute your profile. All right.
I also have a question, sir, just in
Please
case.
mute your profile. On marriage, we created marriage earlier, and I've just come here to enter the record. And the record you enter here cannot be entered the way I'm entering it. This one now is what we call the word cooking record. You can't cook record, you can't doctor record. You have to enter directly from your questionnaire. So if you have picked the first instrument, questionnaire, And on the questionnaire, the person pick number 1. He tick it. If you look at the assignment I gave to you, I say tick the appropriate what? Side as it concerns you. He tick marriage as number 1. So you just come here and what? Enter 1 as part of what? Number 1 instrument. And you take the next instrument. The person pick what? He pick single. And just include what? 2. Remember, this is just marriage added to what we have earlier. We had age, gender, religion, occupation, educational status from your questionnaire. And it runs down like that. So if you want to see your questionnaire, I want to know, okay, how many questionnaire have I coded and enter the record here? How many? 7. Now, please let me have your question. You can now unmute and let's speak one after the other, in case you still don't know.
Thank you, sir. So I wanted to ask, is there a faster way to code the values instead of typing, just to avoid errors and the rest? And then maybe most times our questionnaires are maybe in Excel format already, and you want to import. Is there a faster way to turn them into codes?
Thank you. Maybe you came late. I say next week I'm going to show us how we can import from Excel. Vice versa, how we can also export from SPSS. Yes, we can import. But in terms of speed, since AI is taking over the world today, maybe very soon we have AI that will code for us. But apart from that, I've not seen any faster way. But if you know, I'm willing to learn from you too. Okay, if you have about 1,000 data set means questionnaire. How do you want to code it? Maybe I'm willing to learn. If you have a tool that can do that, I'm also open to learn from you. But I've not seen any, so it's still amounting to manual. But avoiding error, you just have to be careful, and that's why mostly I don't give this to anybody to do for me. If you give it to people who are not honest, they will just enter. They want to finish and get their money. They will just enter random numbers for you. And at the end of the day, when you analyze, your result will not be even. It's going to skew towards a particular area. Then you know that you've either committed type 1 error or what? Or type 2 error. Okay? You can look that up later and read it up. Type 1 error and type 2 are errors committed in what? In quantitative analysis. Wow. All right. May I ask?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm the one who sent you the message with the screen, with the video.
Okay.
I did the, I re-entered into the variable view. I opened another file entirely, re-entered into the variable view, and it worked. I have no idea why it didn't show initially. I went online and some studies suggested that perhaps it was because the label was too long, that I should widen the columns. I did all of that and still nothing worked. So I just redid it from the beginning and it worked. So I don't know what happened exactly.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for getting back on that. I knew I saw that message, but I was too tired to attend to it. Thank you. And I'm so happy because I saw a lot of resilient in those that are going through this course. I'm so happy about that. If you want to ask me if I'm busy, come to my office. I can't attend to you because of my schedule. So busy, but this is a course I have had the intention to teach students for over 8 years. But each time I say, no, I'm so busy, I can't accommodate. It has been in the bulletin of Bukodel for years, but I have never taught it. So I just took it up this time around. I have to break that code. So I'm so happy for a number of you too. I know you are busy. I know you are nurses. I know you are lawyers, but you just have to do this. Someone connected with me, around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. this morning when she woke up and she was apologizing. I said, don't apologize. After all, I speak to my undergraduate students. They connect with me anytime as the HOD. Anytime they have problem, they connect. So why am I? It's not a private. So I was so glad that people are willing to break the barriers of whatever has stand against you by learning and knowing this. Look at the lady that spoke now. She went online, and that's what you should do. Sometimes even when the video I'm giving to you is not sufficient, please, it cannot be sufficient because I'm not Jesus Christ. I cannot give you all the solutions. Go outside your comfort zone and learn more outside. Okay. All right. I want to believe that we have done this. Can we see how to have a descriptive analysis of this? May I ask you that question? Can we see how we can do that? Yes. All right. So we want to analyze this with a descriptive analysis. So you go to analyze. We've done everything. You don't need to highlight anything. You can save, by the way, so that it remains permanent. And you go to analyze. When you go to analyze, the second tool is what we want. It's just go to what? Descriptive statistics. Okay? Start with what? Frequencies. Click on frequencies. We have a number of frequencies we have here. And there are two ways of actually making this selection, or three, as regard what we taught you last time. The first one is that, as it is now, automatically, if you notice what we have here on the frequencies, I have what we have on the labels is what we have here, not what we have on the name. I don't know. Has any of you taken note of this?
Yes, sir.
Good. So that is why
Yes, sir.
it is important for you to have, apart from the name, always have a label. Okay, you can try it on your leisure time. Try and have a name without a label and come and analyze. You will notice what you have here instead. Okay. Now you look at some arrows after this side. Do you see what came out, class? The name is still there. This ... 3 is, you can switch in between what? In between them. Okay, let's go here again. Okay, good. You can see it's coming out. You can see all of them are coming out on the what? On the ... we have there, to tell you that in case you don't know what you have there, the name is what? Age of respondent. Now, how do we select? We cannot have our output here. This is input. We need to move it to the variable where we will have our output. There are two methods. The first one has been highlighted. Just hold down your shift key if you are using Windows. If it's not Windows, it's going to be command you hold down and move down with your arrow key. You are using Windows, hold down your shift key, move down your arrow key until you cover everything. Now you can move, click, hold down, move, and drop. Or you use this arrow to move. We've just shifted everything. Another method of selection is that you can do it one after the other by double clicking each one. You can see I've changed the position of that one. I've changed the position. And by the way, I want to move everything back again. I want to change the position of my marital status. I don't want it in that place. I want it very, very close to closer than that. So I want to take it one after the other. I have my gender. Good. After gender, I have after my gender, I want to have my marital status. So I drop it. Then I have my religion. And after that, I have my occupation. And I have my educational status as the last one. That's what I want as my arrangement. That's what I want my output to be. Now, if you want just to display a variable, here, look at it. I just say, look at this button that is checked here. Display what? Frequency table. It's just going to show you a table. How many? It's just a summary table that is going to show you. And I click. Your result is here. Now, sorry, I have to change my recording. Otherwise, this result, you will not see it. So just permit me to go to the recording and change this. If I don't change this, by the time you are looking at the output, you will not see that. You will not see that at all. Good. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Now,
Yes, sir.
by the time you are looking at this record, you will see the same thing, even though you are seeing it now. All right. Now, I'm on the output section now. Okay. You look at the frequency table we mentioned earlier. This is the summary. This table is the summary. And this summary table, we have what? We have age of respondent. We have gender. We have marital status. We have religion what? Respondent. Occupational respondent. Occupation of respondent. We have educational status of what? Of respondent. And here you say N. N means total number of value. And 777 record. Is that correct or wrong? Based on what we enter.
It's correct.
Yes, sir.
And okay, thank you. And here we have missing value 000. It shows Why do we have 000 as missing value? Even though by next week, we'll see how we can correct it in case we have. Missing value means that, on the record section, data view, everything was entered. There was no portion where there was no record. Sometimes, when you collect questionnaire, either people were in a hurry, they're in a hurry, they won't complete some sections for you. They leave it blank. Another condition that could also create that is that if they are not comfortable with the question you're asking them, they will return it back to you, especially outside Africa. They will turn it back to you. Another condition is that if they don't understand, and one of the concepts of instruments is that you must use a plain language. If you create an instrument, a questionnaire that they have to be hanging around with dictionary, then you are in trouble. Big trouble. You're going to have a lot of missing value. So those are conditions that actually create position for what? Missing value. So if you're having missing value, your total is going to reduce, and it will tell you the number of missing value you're having. So right now we don't have any. We have a clean record here. All right, if you go down to age, it now gave us what? A description of all the variable. You can call it variable. You can call it construct, one after the other. The age variable now is what? We have the classification. Remember, it means only those that we enter is the one that will come out. We have various classification for age, but unfortunately, the ones that came out are just within the age of what? 15 to 24. We have 4. From 25 to 34, we have 3, and that gave us what? The total, and the percentage of that also the 7 as the total, and the percentages of each of these were also what? Explained. 57.1. This is 43 because you have to approximate that, and at the end of the day, your percentage must not be more than 100. If it's more than 100, then you know you are in big trouble. Something, maybe those who enter the data for you, just enter anything for you because they are looking for their money in order to move forward to get another job. So you need to be careful. If you are using this as a business or you are using this for your personal data, then you need to be careful. Like someone asks, what do you do to avoid error? You need to be careful, that's all. And there are ways of actually dictating error. The moment you know that your data doesn't make up, you can your dissertation, your thesis may not request for frequency analysis, but it is good for you to run a frequency analysis to know the validity of your data. I repeat, sometimes we run analysis that are not requested from our project, not because we want to use it, but because we want to use that to validate what we have entered. This is one of them. If you run this now, if it's more than 100, you know you're in trouble. Big shit, I call it. And if it's less than 100, you're also in trouble. You have to go back and trace it. Trace it where the error came from. Otherwise, the overall result will not be equal, and you will have a lot of error, either type 1 or type 2. And you will not be happy about it, even though you have done the research. You cannot pinpoint where the error is actually creeping in from. So we have this declared this way, okay? You can see I have run a lot of output here. This particular output is from this side, and look here, this is another output, this is another output, this is another output, and this. We will see most of them today. So you can move down to see others. You can see educational status, and those that form that. The one we entered earlier was marital status. Let's go and see our classification. Yeah, you can see married. How many people? Remember, I just entered this what? Randomly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. I just enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3 again. So it's an error, on my side, but we don't have any instruments to interpret. So that's just for a teaching purpose is what I'm doing. Please don't repeat this when you are doing a genuine work. It's unethical, okay, to do this. So we have all this, and as our first result. Now we're going to go to the second result that is going to give us the bar chart, the percentage, the maximum, the minimum. But before I go into that, may I request if you have any question, If you have any question, I will entertain the question now because we are moving higher. And I'm so excited because those who joined us, and I told you you will get it. None of them are actually, having any trouble here. Do you have any question?
Please, my network was off. So
At
I
a, at a
couldn't
point,
get
at a point, right?
where you are now. I don't know what you are saying.
At what point?
This point of what you put on the screen now.
Okay. We analyze our work. Okay. Got so good. Your network was off, but my own is not off. So the recording is going to be intact for you. But just for the sake of clarity, this is the output section. This is the output section. And we have done the analysis of frequency. Frequency is just a structural explanation of what we have entered at the record section. And I know a lot of you who are not new here, you have done assignment on this. And it's not even an assignment you can give to people to do for you. If you do that, I will just request that you withdraw out of this course. They're giving people to do this, so just withdraw. There's no point. It's just it's a charade of the intention. Just withdraw and just go and use the time to sleep, because it's something you should battle with and know. Okay, in academics, everyone should know this. So we have done a lot of classification here. Let's start. Let me just give you a summary of the table here. Look at the table. When we entered the record earlier, we had age, respondent, gender. We have marital status, religious, occupational status. There's a spelling error here. Educational status. We have all this declared, and we say this is number, total number. Anywhere you run a statistics and you say n means what? Total variable. It is 777, and missing value, missing 000, meaning that we don't have any missing figure. And I try to explain what missing figure, how you can have missing value. You have missing value when you give an instrument to your respondent and some areas are not filled, they are left blank. You can't fill it for them, please. If you do that, then it's unethical. It's unethical. By next week, we will learn what to do when we have such. Okay? So when you have to code it the way you see it. Code it and run it, and it's going to show that there's a missing value. Then how do you correct that missing value? By next week, we'll see it. So when we left this summary, we now took each one of them. Now, it's a age, 7 people. What is the mixture of that 7? Because on age, we have so many classifications, about 5 classifications on age that we know of. At the end of the section today, I'm going to give you how to classify your own. I'm going to give you an assignment that I gave them that they have done. And I'm so impressed. The number of people that did the assignment, I think about 17. I listed them on the platform. And those that didn't do too, well, I hope they will do it someday. So that's what we have there. And very soon too, I'm not just going to limit the number there. I'm going to analyze what you have submitted. And that is why it is very important for us to have a Google Classroom that captures everything. But in the case of those who are outside Babcock or outside Nigeria, don't bother yourself. I will capture what you are submitting on my email. It's okay for me. So we left those variables. We now analyze each of them. How many of this age classification give us 7? How many of the male and female make up 7? Here we have, if you are writing this report, we have more male than what? We have more female than male. If you go down to marital status, we have more, the married and the single are actually equal in those that fill the questionnaire. And if you go down, that is how to write a report. And you go down, you go to what? Leave that place to what? Religion. In fact, we have more traditional people than what? Than the Christian and the Islamic people. That is how to write a report. And if you leave that to go to occupation, we have those who are self-employed on the instruments on this section than what? Than the civil servant and the unemployed people. And you leave that to educational status, we have all the primary school, secondary school, and university education are equal, except for the postgraduate that we only have one. So that is how to write your report. We'll see a few of the report writing today, in as we move on. Okay, I want to believe that I've covered areas that we don't know. Let me just go back and analyze using what? Further statistical tool. We have just seen frequency. So I have to go to the recording again and change my my output to something else that will help us to see it when we are working. Okay. All right, I'm back here. So this is where we went to the output, and let's go to analyze now. Go back to frequency, descriptive statistics. After that, frequencies, and we are done with displaying frequency table. So I'm going to check it out. I check this. It's telling me I'm going to check it out. Yes. Now, at times, if you are going to correct some things, like I want to now, I need to make some corrections. So I'm going to send this back. There, I saw a typo somewhere. Occupational respondent. There's double U. So you cannot correct anything here, gentlemen. So let's cancel here. Let's go to variable view, occupational. Yeah, occupation here. We can also correct in this other side. Wow, what's wrong? Is okay. This is where the error is from. Okay, so we can. If this was the error, if the error is from here, then we can correct also from here by clicking on it here. Okay, and if you click on it, double click, it's going to send you back here anyway. So the error is from here. So what I just have to do is what? Two ways. You can expand this, which is too much for me. Too much for me. Okay, and it's also too little. Okay. Just let's leave it this way. We go to occupational status. So I just click here. I want to correct something here. So occupation, not education. Good. So I just remove the double. Okay, occupation. Double C, not U. So I press enter. It's been corrected. And we move back here. And we go to analyze now. It would have been corrected. We go to descriptive statistics, frequencies, and I remember I'm not going. If you leave this one there, okay, it's corrected now. It's corrected now, so we can move ahead. It's corrected now. Have occupation of respondent. It's correct, but you can also, if you are not sure, you can drop it there, okay, and move it back as you want it. Marital status, yeah, we can still leave it there. And remember, we are not giving a descriptive frequency. We don't need table. I don't need table. So we just want to go to bar chart, pie chart, maximum, minimum. So if you want to do that, go to what? Click on statistics first. You can see on the statistics here, earlier when I had the introduction with you briefly at the beginning of the class, I explained the classification based on percentile. I explained classification based on central tendency means. I explained classification based on dispersion. I mentioned all this. I also explained classification which was not part of the note. What we mean by what? Kurtosis and what? Skewness of your data. You can also find that value. But for now, let's look at our descriptive statistics based on what? Mean, median, mode, and probably sum. In our next output, we'll come and see the rest. And I click on OK or continue. And finally, OK. I click on OK. Now, please, I need to go and change my output. Otherwise, by the time you are looking at the record too, you will not see the output. So that is one of the things that price I have to pay, if we have to have everything done, which is not a problem for me. All right, we have our output here. Haven't done that. We have this frequency table, even though we did not request for it. It's giving us a frequency table here to start with, because what are we requesting for? Mean, median, mode. So we need a table to show it. It is not a chart. Here we have the first summary earlier is starting with that, which we know. After that, mean. Meaning what? The summation of everything divided by what? 7. The summation of gender divided by what? 7. The summation of religion divided by what? 7. The summation of occupations divided by what? 7. the summation of educational status divided by 7. And you discovered here that the highest mean here is what? If you want to write this report on the mean structure of this now, the highest mean we have here is in the area of what? Marital status, where we have 3 points. All right, 3 points. And median means the middle number. When you arrange in order what? Frequency. Middle number. Here we have 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2. And here we have mode. Mode means most occurring frequency. Occurring frequency, occurring frequencies. And you discover that we have A here. But for the sake of the senior ones that are in our midst, I want you to explain, why do we have A attached to 1 and 1 here? Can someone please explain to us? Even though it's explained here, the meaning, anytime you have something, an asterisk, it's giving us the meaning. So can someone just help us out? I want to know if you have really been catching up. Am I still with a class, or I'm speaking to myself?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
It just showed that 1 is a multiple number in that mode. It is not a single number. We have more than 1.
Occurring in many places.
The most occurring number.
Yes.
The most occurring number.
Thank you. If you want to know, now if I flip back, you won't see this in the record. And let me flip back on what now? On mode for, let's go and check for education and marital status. I'm going to flip back now. And you won't see this in your recording because I didn't change it. Educational status and what? Let's go back again. Educational status and marital status. We are having 1, 1, 1. Educational status. Okay, look at this now. How many ones do we have here? 2. How many ones are we having here? 2. Remember, that is why. And we also have occupational status. Oh, sorry, it's not 1 per se. There is not 1 that is the most occurring figure. We have 3 appearing twice, 1 appearing twice, 2 appearing twice, and 4 appearing twice. So here we have 1 appearing twice, 2 appearing once, 2 appearing twice. So why do we have 1, 1? Remember, this is it. Let's go to the output again. We have educational status. Mode, most occurring figures. Right? So we have 1 here. And A, it says multiple mode exist. Which means 1 is not the multiple mode. But it's just what? Multiple mode existing. Because you discover that 1 existed, 2 existed. So take note of that. We are not saying 1 is the answer here. But it shows that you just took 1 of the multiple mode and put an asterisk. Meaning that multiple mode existed. I don't know if you understand this, class.
Hello, sir.
Okay. A question? Yes?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor, please. Is it my network or your network? Class, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, she's going to come back later.
For network.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the way I understood it is that it's saying that out of we had 1, so 1 is the smallest. That was why they now wrote 1A.
Yeah, that's correct. 1 is the smallest.
I think that's where I get it, sir.
Yeah. Let me flip back now to the data and we'll go over it again. Let me change here to the input. Okay, so let's look at educational status. 1 appeared twice, 3 appeared twice, and 2 appeared twice. And here we have 1 appearing twice, 2 appearing twice, and that's all. Yeah, 1 is the smallest in terms of the number that appeared twice. I agree with you. We can also find out. We can read further on that. So we will need to move further. We have done 3 analyses now, and the way we are analyzing, we are also showing the report. Now let's move further by looking at another analysis using the same frequencies, and I'm still going to retain this, and I'm not showing this table again, but we are going further we are done with this. If you want to see minimum and maximum, you can also come and uncheck this. Leave this one alone. Sum was done too. You can also leave this one alone and take what? Take maximum and minimum. And in addition to maximum and minimum in a table, let's see the result first. This is the result. Permit me to change the mode to result mode. Okay, now this is the result here for maximum and minimum, meaning that within this number, which one is the minimum and maximum number chosen in terms of classification. You can see here we have one run through because one existed in all the areas, and some are more than 2 because the classification is more than 2. For example, the marital status that you gave me, you say separation, that increases to 5. So that is the minimum of what? Maximum and minimum. Any question? Okay, we're going to change back to input, and I go back to my input. Let's run the last one before we go to the final, to the lesson of today. All that we are doing are past lessons. We're just going to go to the lesson of today in the next few minutes, and if we are able to finish, fine and good for us. Let's go to chart now. Chart. We are done with statistics. We go to chart, and remember, I'm still maintaining the same variable that I want to use. Sometimes you may not want to use everything. You don't have to bring in everything. Take note of that. So I go to what? I go to chart, and I want to use a bar chart. You don't have to use everything. Bar chart with a frequency, bar chart with a percentage. The choice is yours. The issue is that know what, and you can also use both. Oh, you can't use both. It's just one here. Okay. Just be sure you know what you are doing in terms of picking the frequency in your explanation, or you picking a percentage. If you pick a frequency in your bar chart, you will explain your bar chart in terms of frequency. If you pick a percentage, you will explain your report will be in terms of percentage. That is just it. Then click here and click OK. And finally, you click OK. Please, let's switch here to output mode. Then I go back and I fix output. You can see that it didn't come out initially because of processing. It takes a while, about a minute, then it's coming out. Now, we didn't request for a table, but definitely it's going to give us a summary table. But that is not here. This one is just what we had earlier. So we didn't request for a table. It's going to give us a summary table, that same as we had earlier. Let's go down. This is the bar chart. Remember, we picked our bar chart in terms of frequency. I hope you still remember the X and Y axis. From my diagram, which one is the X axis? Is it the horizontal or the vertical, class? You can open or mute. X axis, is it horizontal or vertical? Thank you. Horizontal is my X axis. This is my X axis. This is my Y axis. So if you want to explain this, you should know you are explaining in terms of frequency, meaning that your Y axis has a what? Frequency of 0 to what? 0 to 4. And in between them, I think you should be able to know the gap that exists between 0 and 1. I think it has to do with, and here too, you should be able to understand the gap that exists between 0 and one age classification to the other in terms of metrics of charts. We did that when we were in secondary school. We are still building on that. So this is the bar chart. Here now it shows vividly that between age 15 to 24, we have more respondents than what? 25 to what? Than 34. And if you go down to, you go to age, we have more females than what? Than male. From there to go down, your report will show that you have more people in what? Traditional mode. Remember that we have seen this in a table earlier. Now we are using a chart. Some people may be very poor in analyzing that table because they are not mathematically inclined. But they are physically what? Open to diagrams here. So they can see this diagram clearly. So at least they know that the last one here is taller than the other two. And the other two appears to be the same. The first one is on 3, the other two are on 2. So I think that one is very clear for people who are not mathematically inclined. That's why we use what? Structures apart from table. And we also have occupation of respondent, where we have the highest occupation here on what? Self-employed. Okay? And thank you. And I'm going to ask a question now for someone to interpret this, and I want that person to be among those who joined us today. Just tell us what you understand by this bar chart. At least we've been talking. Let's know that you are with us. Anybody joining us today, please speak to this.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I want to try.
Yeah. Network. Okay, let's speak out.
Good morning, sir. Let me try.
Okay.
The widow, the divorce, and the separated, they are of the same number. Why the married and single, they are higher than those one that I mentioned.
And they are also on the same number.
There are many.
And they are also occupying the same number, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so much. All right. I think let me just flip back. I will just run one more for us, maybe a pie chart, and that will be the end for this class. This particular session that we have done before your presence, before you join the class, and we just go to today's class. Let's run one more. The same, don't need to move. The same, analyze, descriptive statistics, frequencies. You just go to your chart now. You just unblock what? Remove this. You can't do 2, remember? So you need to, the moment you are checking one, is a box, a combo box. You check one, uncheck the other. It's not a box that you can select multiple. So I want to pick a bar chart now. And I'm picking, let's change to what? Percentage. And I click continue. I click OK. Let me change my output to output section. Yeah, we have our result here. The first one is H. And you can see, we call this key. Key means that the meaning of this color, it's coming out here. On the blue part, we have those who are here, we have those who are here. And, even though it's on percentage, actually, it's not coming out. It's not visible. There's no difference between percentage and frequency because it's not going to write it for you. It's not going to write it. You are the one that will interpret this using the key and what you can see. How do you know? How do you know the number of people that are within the green area? You don't have it. The only thing you can do is to go back to the table and know. Go back to the table and know. The table has it. You don't have it particularly on the diagram here. All you know is that those who are on the blue section, who falls between the female, are more than what? The male gender. But with how many figures? You don't have it. You don't have it. And, okay, I'm trying to see. Let's see. Okay. What I did is I just double click. I double click. Let me see if I can bring that out. Create, edit, export, control. Yeah, you can. Now, I was expecting a question like this. How do you take this to your Word, MS Word, if you want to write your report? You can actually export, or you can copy and paste. You can export, you can copy and paste. Nobody asked that question, but I've seen some people doing it in your assignment. So that's all about the bar chart in this format. You can see this one has multiple keys because there are multiple shapes and different colors. You can't use the same color. If you use the same color, then you're not going to understand anything. Okay, I think that's may I request for a question. We are moving forward to another topic shortly, which is on week 3. Questions?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
So I want to ask that, does it mean that during our report, when we are giving our reports in the MS Word, that we need to input this bar chart before we make our report? I want to ask, is it necessary that we input either the bar chart or the pie chart where we are going to make our report? Is that what you are saying, sir?
Yes, it is. If I want to, I want to describe Aderibigbe. Will I describe Aderibigbe without the picture of Aderibigbe? Hello, madam.
No.
Answer me now.
Okay, sir.
You are the one that asked. That's why I'm using your name. You are the one that asked. If I want to describe you now, how vividly with the reader understand my explanation if I don't bring your picture into the fold? Would they get it better? For instance, I said Madame Marie Bibé is elegant, she's tall, and there's no element of that shape coming into the description. Is it good? Is it a good writing concept?
All right,
No.
that's it, sir.
Good. I'm sure you understand that now. Any other question, class?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead, please.
I want to ask this question. Though you have taught it before my network was off.
Don't worry. Yeah.
You know, when a respondent does not mark anything, you told us that we will write 0 there. Do we have inanimous?
Hello.
Do we say inanimous?
Just be patient. Let me correct that. I say leave it blank. Don't write 0. Leave it what? Blank.
Blank.
Yes, blank. Don't write 0. Leave it blank. Leave it at it. The person did not write anything. Leave it what? Blank. The next topic we are going to now, we show you some record on blank level. Okay. Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, when I was doing the assignment, I kept on having multiple frequency table.
On your output, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't bother yourself.
So which I deleted.
Yeah, it's because you are just beginning. You are just beginning. If you look at all that we have been doing, you see, these are report, these are output. You see my left hand side, these are different output. All your output will continue to appear on the same page, and this is good for me because if I have it on different pages, I will not be able to connect it on my recording. So because you are just beginning, by the time you become an expert, you would know what to do to ensure that you don't have multiple, because you are just learning. Sometimes you make mistake, you run it, it doesn't give you have multiple. So the only way to do that is that you close it. Don't save, just close it and run it again. Close it and run it again. Then you not have multiple. But me, I'm not closing now because I need this to show you. So all my results, all my output, they're all here from the beginning, from top to bottom. Everything that we started this morning, you can see everything is there. And if I continue to go to ANOVA, to other regression analysis, I want to maintain it here. But at the end of the class, I'm going to save this. Someday, you may need it, I will send it to you. So that's not a problem, madam.
All right, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other
questions?
Good. Go ahead.
Question,
Go ahead.
When I was doing the assignment yesterday, what I had to do was the way I submitted mine, I don't know if you noticed, was that I labeled like each output, like I said, AI pie charts, AI histogram, AI. So how do you, is there a possibility to save everything as one file? How do you save as one file?
To save all the output in one file, right?
Yes. Does that happen?
I have not seen that, but there's nothing impossible. It could happen, but I've not seen that actually. But let me just show you something before you continue. If you click on this output, right click. If you right click on this output, it tells you what? Export. Okay? And when you click on export, now, okay, I've clicked. Indicate where you are exporting to. Right? And there's nothing here, basically. It's just giving name and all that when you export. So the best thing I do, sometimes too, some versions may give you, if you select everything from top to bottom, you can lift everything to Word. But even if you lift to Word, you don't need everything. For example, when you are writing, remember when you write, those of you who have done MSc before, you wrote your project and you are doing descriptive analysis and you are picking your table. You just need your table. You will have to create another table. Remember, you have to create another table. Even though you've not done this yourself before, but what your analysts do, they will create another table, rearrange it. What they have here, they will just copy there, but in the format of the references you are using, upper format. It has to be done in APA format. So you don't need the entire table. You have to reformat the table in the references you are using. Some are using Chicago. The lawyers are using their own. There's a way that it is acceptable in that field that you have to format. So you don't need the entire table. Any other question?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, sir. My question is this. By the time I'm presenting this table in chapter 4, I mean the statistics,
Yes.
am I supposed to use either the chart or the table? Or can I use the two together?
It depends on your objective. Okay? It depends on your objective. If you are doing a descriptive statistics, sometimes some people combine. Sometimes you need just one. If I use table, gentlemen and ladies, I'm mathematically inclined, I will use table for you. But sometimes we do some research that requires further explanation than tables, that we need figures and we need structure. Please don't run away from it. You have to do the two. Sometimes when you are doing your chapter 4, it takes a long time, actually for analysis and reporting. You spend sometimes a month because you cannot afford to make a mistake. When I read projects on my table here as a methodology, those who have, even the PhD student, I will call them, come. Look at this. This number does not correspond to your table. So it means something has gone wrong. Either you were sleeping when you were writing, or you were carried away, or you were distracted. So it takes time, one after the other, before you get it done. So you can have multiple structure, you can have single, depending on the nature of your work. All right, can we go on now? Can we proceed, class?
Please, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
ask that. Sorry.
No,
I want
don't
to
be
ask
sorry.
that how come, sir?
I think there's no need to be sorry. That's why it's a special class. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, sir. So how can we edit the content of this chart now is not showing the values, the percentage or the frequency, the values in figures.
Yeah.
So is it possible to impute that manually, sir?
Let's see. You can, except you use Excel to analyze this. And I will teach you, maybe sometimes, remind me, I will teach you how to use Excel to also analyze. Okay, but let's see, let's go back. Let me change my mode to input. Let's go back and see if we can get this shown. Okay, I want to reanalyze this. I'm not going to use a percentage now. Let's see, let's show frequency chart. I want to use frequency now. I don't want to use percentage. And no, those of you who are using higher version, you should be able to have it. You should be able to have it to show. But if it's not showing, it means the way to go with this is to go to what? Okay, let me change my output to output mode. Okay, it's the same thing. It's not showing. It's same thing. Okay. It's same thing. It's still not showing. It's same thing. Okay. Even if you come here as we have earlier, or you have come here, it's the same thing. So the only way, and the other thing you could do here is when you right click, whatever you can do should come out here. You're right clicking, create or edit what? Auto script. There's nothing we can do here. So the best way, you can do this manually. Okay, please remind me, you can do this manually too. You take it to Word and you do it. But remind me before we finish this course. So I don't want to start that now. It's going to create a lot of hula baloo. It's an advanced level. Remind me before, maybe the last week, or a revision, a crash course to finish. I would just teach you that. Okay. Can we continue, class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me just change.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. What I have here is we want to. This is the real course for today. In case I cannot finish this, I will finish this next week in combination with something else. But however, if whatever I finish today, if I not finish it, I'll give you an assignment that will make you finish it on your own. You need to read more. That's one of the agreement we signed. This work is more than 6 or 7 weeks. It's a whole semester course. In fact, you can't even finish it in a semester because descriptive statistics alone is huge. You will do if you finish descriptive statistics by the time we start inferential statistics. Those of you who are, I have PhDs. Those who have PhD here, you know what it means. Regression analysis alone can take 3 weeks. So there's a need for you to read. There's a need for you to work. And by the time you finish this class, don't say I know statistics. I'm not saying you don't know. You need to start solving problems. When people say they want to analyze, collect the job. I say do what? Collect it from them. I can analyze for you. Don't collect too much. Don't collect huge. Don't charge them so much. So that will not be a problem for you. Charge them half of the money. Okay? When you run into trouble, run to your teachers. Sir, I'm hooked. I took this job. What can I do further? Well, it's not because of the money. It's not the money that you want to get that made you collect the job. It's the knowledge. Taking a course in statistics is not sufficient in quantitative analysis. Is not sufficient as when you start practicalizing solving problems. Then you see a whole lot of issues that will come up. Right? You can analyze for people, take the job. No, you're not looking for money, but you're looking for knowledge. And when you have problems, run to your teachers, they will help you out. So that's how analysis is all I mean. SPSS, that's how it is. You finish this, don't rest there. Continue to work, continue to read, continue to solve problems. So we are going to comparing means. Today we have seen means. Mean is the same thing as average, okay? Just go with me with what I have on the screen. I was trying to give you some introduction to it then before we go into the practical aspect. The compare means procedure is useful when you want to summarize and compare differences in descriptive statistics across one or more factors or categorical variables. And what do we mean by categorical variables, class? You know, categorical variables represent data that can be sorted into distinct category. We've had some categorical variables today. An example of such categorical variable is gender. You can sort them into different parts. Another categorical variable we've also had today is education. Another one we've also had today is marital status. So you can have them in that order. They are categorical variable. Okay? So another one we can also have is car. You know, when we talk about car or vehicle, we have brands. We have Volvo, we have Toyota, we have Mercedes-Benz, we have Nissan, we have Ford, we have a lot of them. Without, you say, here we are talking about categorical variable without a natural order or what? Ranking. It must not have a ranking. So which means that our educational status cannot be what? Categorical variable here. Example, compare average across related demographic variable. Averages, across what? Related demographic variables. Any question before we go into the exercise? So we want to see how we can compare means among what? Categorical variable. Any question? Please, am I still speaking to the entire class or am I alone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We are here, sir.
Thank you. Glad to know. Let's go into a class exercise. And I want us to open our mind. Running speed and ability is known to be correlated. Running speed and ability is known to be correlated. May I ask the class, because I'll be jumping in between a lot of concepts that you should know. What do we mean by correlation? We are still going to do correlation here, but let's know. I'm using the term now, so we should understand the term here. What do we mean by correlation? Correlated here. When you say something is correlated, what is the meaning? Anybody, please, you can just unmute and speak.
If they are almost the same.
Hello?
The same meaning. Almost they have the same meaning.
No, ma.
They have something in common.
No, ma.
They go hand in hand.
No, ma.
That is when two variables are related.
No, ma. There's something I'm looking for. Not that you're not totally correct, but there's something.
Correlation means there's a degree of association between the two variables.
Thank you. There's a relationship. One affects the other. Good. Those are words. Relationship, association, like she said. And one affects what? These are things that you will see in your quantitative analysis that determine this instrument that you will use. Sometimes you are still going to get to a point you will see question, you don't even know what to use to analyze. But there are some languages that will bring that up. Correlation. When you say correlation, there's a relationship. For example, what's the relationship between hot weather and ice water? Is there a relationship, everybody?
Yes.
Is there a relationship?
Yes,
Thank you. Is there a relationship between rain and rubber slippers or rubber shoe?
No, sir.
Oh, there is. There's a relationship. You can't use rubber shoe when there's no rain. What's the relationship between umbrella, rainy season, or dry season? There is. Is that how you're using it during rainy season when the rain is high? The rain is heavy, or dry season when the sun is hot. So when such happen, we talk it what? There's correlation. And we're now saying here, running speed and ability. Running speed and ability. Is there no relationship, class?
There is.
Meaning that you have the ability to run, and the speed you will cover. Is it? It's related.
Determining the speed.
Exactly. Your ability to run determines the speed you will cover. And if you don't have the ability to run, you cannot cover any speed. That's why we call it what? It is known to be what? It is known to be correlated with both physical what? Sex, and with a person's what? General level of what? Athleticism. Good. So here we're going to see if gender affects the mile you cover, or your athletes affect the mile you cover. If you're athletic, yes or no? Affect what? The mile you cover. So this is what we call comparing what? Means. Sometimes you do this in your analysis. You compare means. Sometimes you do a pre-field, what do you call it now? And the word is off my head. Intervention. You do an intervention where you do a pre-analysis and post-analysis. Yeah, you do a pre-analysis and post, and you need to compare the means. This is what happens. Because at the beginning, if the mean is higher, then something is happening somewhere. Then you have to interpret it in same way. So here we're going to look at 3 variables to start with. We're going to look at gender, the person's physical sex, male or female. Does it determine the what? The speed you cover? Or if you are athletic, yes or no, does it determine the speed you cover? There's something else I want us to know here. In these 3 variables, there's what we call dependent variable and independent variable. May I ask the class if anybody can? One thing about this class is, please, it is only Jesus Christ that is perfect. Your teacher teaching you, I am not perfect. So if you are here and you cannot speak out, then you are not in the right place. I am not here for those who are perfect. I'm here for those who don't know this so that I can take you to the level you want to be. So please be able to communicate in class. There is no useless question here. So I want someone to explain to us the difference between dependent variable and independent variable, because I'm going there right away. from this variable I have here, from these three, let me highlight it. From these three variables, I have dependent variable here, I have independent variable. Can someone tell us the difference between dependent and independent variable?
Yes, sir, let me try.
Please go ahead.
The dependent variable, as we know, is the problem variable, while the independent is the solution. So, in this case, gender may serve as the independent, and the male may be the dependent, which is we are trying to look at whether you are female or male, how many miles can you cover? The problem here is the miles the individual can cover.
Okay, so the mile here is what?
So the dependent.
Okay, good. That's Dr. Misibo. I was thinking you would not, because you mix it up initially when you started, when you were calling gender as dependent. I was looking at the gender is not actually dependent.
No.
Good.
Independent.
Good.
Independent, because the gender is going to be a solution. We want to see
Good.
whether you are a male or a female. We want to see the miles that you can cover. The miles here is the dependent.
Good. I like that.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Very well. Good.
Okay, sir.
That's my teacher this morning. That's Dr. Misibo. That's good. I just want, I'm not done. So don't raise I'm not asking if you understand it yet. So don't raise your hand up. Okay. Now, I have three diagrams on the screen, and I'm going to change the color so that it doesn't look the same. Okay. I hope you can see this, the shape I have on the screen, the same square shape in
Yes, sir.
in two colors, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, sometimes in your research, you do have something like this, even though many times you don't understand the meaning. What I'm doing does not have any. It's not a cast in stone structure that has to be the way I have it. It can be in any way. It can be in any form. I can change the red. The red can be in my right hand side, and the other or the other way. I'm going to do. I just want to use this to explain to you. Sometimes we see this. Now, this is class. This is. Let me write inside. I'm going to delete this later so that you see what we have, or I may also leave it. This is the dependent variable. Dependent variable. We call it DV. And these are the independent variable. I'm not going to write all. I'm just going to write independent variable, and also the same here. Independent variable. Are we clear, class, with my diagram?
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying clear about what I'm using it for. I'm still going to explain. Now, the dependent variable here is your expected result that you don't know. The independent variable here are the variables that we change the reaction of your results. The independent variables are variables that will not change. I'm using another term now. The dependent variable are variables that will change when there's a reaction between when one or more independent variable comes together, your dependent variable will change. And that is exactly what we are trying to see now. If I put my gender and as my independent variable and I put my athletics here, will gender and athletics person, will it not change the number of speed I can cover? Class?
Yes, sir.
Good. That is what we mean by dependent and independent variable. Another thing with the diagram I have here, there's a relationship between one dependent variable and another dependent variable. You can also find out in your research. There's a statistical tool where you can get that, and we're going to get that in this comparing means now. Is there any question about dependent and independent variable that you don't understand, class? Speak if you have issues.
Hello.
Please speak.
So, sir, like what you have drawn now, it means the definition is not that the dependent variables are the problem. The problem are variables.
Come again?
What you have drawn now,
Yes.
shows that the dependent variables are not the problem. The problem is independent variable, which will later change. So, dependent variable.
No. The dependent variable, why Dr. Mosigo earlier said that dependent variable are the problem is because you don't know it. You don't have the result. Are you getting it? It's what you don't have. That means it's the problem you are solving. When you have this result, you have the independent variable coming together, you don't have the solution of the dependent variable. That makes it a problem for you. Until you do the analysis, you cannot have the result. That's why she said it's a problem. Do you understand? Because it is,
yes.
And it changes every time there is a reaction between one independent variable or another. It will always change if the environment change or the age change. If someone, for example, let's say I'm taking you higher now. If I bring a 60-year-old person to be your independent variable and I bring someone who is not athletic comes into it, will it not determine how many miles you can cover?
Okay.
Somebody who has retired and I have a very, a full-blown blood person who is just 10 years old and who is athletic, and I bring them together, do you think is he going to beat the person who has retired on the field or not? That is it. That's why I say each time you change your independent variable, your dependent variable result is going to change. Is that clear?
Okay. Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right. So let's move on. Now that you understand that, then we'll go down. I'm going to leave that diagram for you. I don't know if I have sent. I'm not sure if I have sent a note. If I have not, I'm going to send a note later. But if I have the note, then it's your luck that you won't have the diagram here. But if you have not, then I can include that. Then it's going to be in the video, so you are covered. Now compare means basic report is what we want to see now. First, we will analyze the miles times without the grouping variable using mean, standard deviation, and sample size, minimum, and what? Maximum. We have done that before. Do you remember the mean, standard deviation, and everything about these three variables? Remember that was how we started today. And one of the things we did today before we do compare means. So how do we do that? The process is here for you. But I'm not going to go through the process. Let's go practically into the structure. I have written this process for you so you can follow that later. We want to compare these three structurally, this table together, looking for what? Minimum, maximum, as we have here. Look at what we want to do now. I want to find the mean, the standard deviation, the sample size, minimum, and maximum. That's the first result we want to look at. I put that in red for you to know what we are looking for. Now, I'm going to change my screen recording to the input. I have actually entered this. Well, let me see. I did not enter this. I downloaded this data from the internet. So that will be better for us. It's not something that somebody cook. Like I doctor a data this morning, which will not give us a report. I needed a live data that will show exactly real scenario. So I downloaded this, and I'm going to give you this data to work with later in the day too, so you don't have to go to the field again. That's a relief, isn't it? So I go to another data here. I change my input to let me say descriptive. Oh no, okay, compare means good. Compare means good. So I change my descriptive to compare means here. Good. Can you see my screen, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you still see the same variable I explained in the word?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Where the class exercise is where I can see.
Class what?
Okay, it has changed to the variable
Yeah,
view.
it's your network. That's why
Yes,
it's
sir,
low.
network.
Yeah, it's low. Okay. Now, do you discover that we have three variables here? I have I have gender, I have athlete, I have miles, minutes, duration. And look at the number of the type of variable. I have numeric, date, miles, minute, cover, and it's showing what date. Now that is quite strange. Anyway, date. Why is it showing date? Oh no, it should be time, not even date. It's actually time. This is time. I don't know why it's using date there. It should be time because this is in minute, second, and hour, second, and minute. Let's see. Is there no time here? Okay, numeric, comma, dot, scientific, date, color, custom, currency, string. It's not there. So the best we okay. Oh, day, month, year. Wow. The best we have is what he has used. Okay, we have it here. Minute, second. No. They are all days. I don't know how he's still maintaining that because that's an issue. But I will explain to you as we move along. Now, if you look at decimal, there's no decimal places, isn't it? You look at labels, nothing is labeled, which means what we have here is what will be carried. I told you sometimes we don't even have it. Values, no value created. Gender, he just used one here. We don't know if he has two. He did not give us that. That's a very, very undocumented and coding. We don't understand. If you ask me now, I don't understand this. Gender, does it mean that we just have one gender true? Let's go bare. You see? Gender, it just enters 0 and 1. And here, we don't have that meaning. Do you see reason why we should always code this, class? Hello? Are we still there? Yeah, you discover that the analyst here actually coded these zeros and 1. And here, we don't have that meaning here. And the same thing goes to the other ones. There are other issues, zeros and 1 here, zeros and 1 here, and the same thing here. And I was trying to understand the concept of date. How can date be, hours, minute, and second? It should have been an explanation here. There is none. So please do your own coding better than what we see on the screen here. Okay. Now, other things I can see here too. Here we have nominal scale. Is it correct or not? This session is correct as far as I know. Am I right, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
You're right.
good. Let's go to further things that I want you to notice now. I'm going to show you the data view. And on my data view, I have a lot. I told you earlier, I have a lot. So many. Let's go to the end. So many. And when somebody asks a question, how can we get computer to do this automatically? Look at, can you imagine? 200, which means this person had over 300 questionnaire. Wow. It's still on. 400. Okay. It stopped somewhere. I think it stopped 435. Wow. This could take up to 3 days. Actually cut off a lot of things. I will bring things as we move on in the lecture series. I'll be bringing some things. I saved others. I cut it off because we don't need it. This is what we need. Now I want you to observe this data and tell me what you have seen beside the fact that it is 435 records. That means we have
I
about.
am missing data.
It's not missing gap. Oh, yeah, I did not. Your teacher did not teach you.
Missing data.
There's a miss. They are missing data. And is there anything that was there zero written there? No, it was just left blank. It was just left blank. By next week, we'll see how we can correct this missing value. Do you understand, class?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good. Now we want to analyze. Remember, what we want to analyze now is we want to look at mean, median, and what? Let me take you there again. Let me just take you there again. Not mode, oh. Not mode. Let me change my
There is
view.
also question mark.
Let me take my view. You have a question?
I said in that file.
Look at what, yeah, the gratis. I'm going to listen to you. But let me just say here that this is what we are looking for. Mean, standard deviation, sample size, minimum, and what? Maximum. That's what we want to look for now. I want to run that data, and we'll go to what? We'll go to analyze too. So let's go back. I hope you are with me on this. So I'm going to change to my what? To my hello, class. Are you still with me? Thank you. Thank you, Tokwe. I didn't know. How long? Thank you. I don't know what happened to the network. Okay. All right. Am I back to you now, class? Hello, class. Am I back with you? Am I back with you now?
Yes, sir. You're welcome back.
Thank you. Just pray.
You're welcome.
Okay. I don't know why my video is not showing again. That's going to be terrible. Okay. I don't know why it just logged me off. I think this time around, the internet also did this. It came to my office to show me what you have been experiencing. It decided to log me off. Now I'm going to share my screen now. Is this still sharing?
Yes, sir. It's coming up.
Okay. Meanwhile, my recording has not stopped. My recording has not stopped, so that is perfect. Let me just. I was trying to shift to go to what we're doing, and comparing means was what I wanted to show you. Comparing means. Am I back to the screen of comparing means with you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Please.
sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Just let me mute your profile so that we can hear me well. By my time, mute your profile. Thank you. Please mute your profile. The record is on. You will not enjoy this at the end of the day, class. Thank you. Now, by my time it's 9:01. I didn't start exactly 7. I think I started maybe 7 minutes after 7. So I will crave your indulgence to please give me 15 minutes more. Is that okay with you? I know you have other schedules. Is that okay with you, class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Just give me, by 9:15, I'm going to end the class today, and you should expect an assignment between tomorrow or next. Latest tomorrow, Friday, you should expect, or next, depending on how soon I can put it together. Those who are just joining us today, your assignments of the second assignment will be ready. The first assignment, don't bother yourself, it's just about instrument, how to code. We can also give it to you to see what you can do with it. But I want to be careful so that you don't have too much of it. So I may not bother you with that. It's not too technical or too brain tasking. Now, what we are looking for in this first analysis, we want to look at the mean, standard deviation, sample size, minimum, and what? Maximum. Please keep it in your brain while I switch over. So I'm going to go over now. I switch my recording to the input section. Okay, so we go to what? We go to analyze. Can you see my screen, class?
Yes, sir.
We go to analyze, and I go to compare means. We are done with descriptive forever, except maybe I can give you questions in crosstab. I can give you question in crosstab. What do we use crosstab for, and explore? Maybe I can give you questions in that, so that will enable you to know everything under descriptive. They are all tools for descriptive analysis. Then we come to compare means, and I go to means. I go to means. Next week we'll go to one sample t-test and all that. Here I go to means and I click. And sorry, I need to remove this back. This was my work. This was my work. This was my work. This was my work. Good. This was my work. This was my work. So I want to remove all that back so that we understand it. So let me go back again. Let me go back. I hope it has reset that. Before I come to class, whatever I teach you, even if it's undergraduate, I must do it to ensure that it's correct. Because sometimes if you don't practice it, you have error. You will not know how to troubleshoot the error you have. So that is why you need to practice your work before you face your student. Whatever you want to tell students to do, you must complete it first. Even if in computer science you are programming, you must program and get the result first before you can ask your student to produce their own result. Because that is the only way you can use to help them to correct errors when errors are coming. So now we want to produce, you can help that person maybe coming in or coming in late. We want to produce this and get what? And get mean, as we said earlier. So let me switch back, and I want to show you some procedures there. Let's go to the Word again, Word document of comparing means. I want to show you some things that are very necessary for us to follow. Look at the procedure. Open compare what means, analyze, click on compare means. After that, double click on what? My mean dua. To move it to what? Dependent variable. I'm sure by now you don't have problem with that. Do you, class? Do you have problem why we are calling mice cover as dependent variable?
No, sir. No, sir.
Good. That was why we had to go to it. So when you do that, you now move, click option. Okay, I'm going to show you that. Click option to open what? Mean option and all that. So we only want to move just one variable first. Basic compare mean. We just want to move what? Only my mean variable, which is only dependent variable, is what we want right now. All right? Only that one is what we want right now. And these are the procedure. These are the procedure you will go through later on your own. But let's go through the practical back. So we just want to one now. Let's go through the practical back. I will just beg that person to please close your profile. So I'm moving this to what? Dependent variable. Because we want to create what? Mean standard deviation of dependent variable. And I will click on what? Option. If you look at this, by default, class, I'm the one that moved this there. By default, anytime you are comparing means with option, you select option. The number of statistics that you can do, you have it there, is there. By default, your mean, number of cases, and standard deviation by default is already selected for you. So what we want to add to the cell statistics is just 2 points. Remember, how do we know we want cell statistics? That is what the problem has asked us to do. It asks us to look for mean, a number of cases, standard deviation, minimum, and what? Maximum. That was why I selected it and I put it in what? In red. So what we need to do, just like we have learned earlier, is to click and move this. Click and move this. And I move. And I click on what? Continue. And finally, I click on OK. And our output is actually here, but I'm going to change so that the recording will also capture our output, so that we'll have our output screen. Okay, good. And I come back to the what? To the output screen here. This is what we have just done. This is what we have just done. Okay? Do you see this, class? This is it. This is the summary. This is the classification. Mean, the number of variable. This is the summary. And on the summary, we have just analyzed miles covered. This is the number of respondent, 392 records. This is the percentage. This is another respondent, 43. This is the percentage. This is the total. Meaning that included, excluded. What did you mean by included? What do you mean by excluded? I will explain that later. Now, within that, we have a mean of what? Of the included. This has been excluded. By virtue of those of you that have known statistics by now, why do we have 43 excluded? You should be able to guess from the total number that is. This is the final report actually. Why are we excluding 43? I want someone to tell me. Maybe I will have a gift for you. I can give you a statistics textbook when I see you physically. I have a number of them. Yes.
Sir, I see the 43 are the numbers of the missing numbers.
Oh, bravo. May I know your name?
Shodia, sir.
Shodia, okay. You are one of the prominent ones. All right. I owe you a statistics textbook anytime you see me on campus. I'll give you one. Now, that is it. Those are the missing number. That is one of ways of treating it. By next week, I will tell you how we can delete it. We can also delete it. Right now, the system has automatically, separated it because it's not part of our record. Remember, you cannot fill it up. If you fill it up, it is unethical and it's going to affect your result. So at the end of the day, instead of having a total of 435, we are ending up with what? 392. And here we now have the standard deviation, the minimum, and what? Maximum value. Any question, class? Any question, class?
Sir.
Yes.
I noticed that when you want to pick the variable to the dependent list, is only one. I mean the
yes. We are just analyzing the dependent variable. We are going to analyze them one by one before we finally look at them together as dependent and independent variable. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That is exactly what we did. I just did one. Now, let me show you the report, how you will write this report. Let's shift back to our Word document. That's where we're going to end the class today. Word document to compare. I'm going to give you something to do on this comparing means. And by next class, if I've given you something to do by next class, it's going to be very easy for me to gloss over the remaining. Now, look at the reports here, class. Okay, this is the process. Now, don't bother yourself about too many of these you are seeing here. I remove them because we don't need them. Just follow the process. Forget about the number of variables that you don't need that are appearing here. Don't let that deceive you. The dependent variable is further explained here by the... I'm not the author of this lesson note, so that's why I am not editing this. But the author is giving you his own definition, dependent and independent. But please don't be confused. Just take my own as what you know, and you can ignore the author's meaning if it doesn't make sense to you. This is the process I showed you earlier, that where we made that selection. We have mean, number of cases, standard deviation, minimum, and what? Maximum. Then we went further. If you went further to say okay, and when we say okay, we had this result, which you know. Is it correct? True or false, class? Is it the same thing? Good. The same exact report. If your work, please, can you close it? If you run your work and you are not getting the same report, then you know there's a problem. we got exactly the same thing, then it means we are correct. Now let's now interpret. I want to show you the interpretation. I'm going to give you how to do other ones. Dialogue, I'm going to show you other ones, even though I'm giving you the result, and I will now give you the one that will not give you the result. I will give you this note. You practice exactly how they produce the result, and you have the result here. Just make sure that your own result is equal to the result I have here. And if you can understand that very well, I will now give you the one that you will produce the result for me, and there will not be a comparison structure. So I'm the one who will now know if you are right or wrong. I'm going to give you this data to use. So let's look at this report here. Let's look at how we can write this report together. Take notes and be careful. The reports are not the same. It depends on what you are doing. The average mile, listen, it started here. Remember, this is mile per what? Per second, per minute, per hour, second, and minute. The average mile time overall was 8 minutes. Look at, where is it getting 8 minutes? This is hour, minute, second. Hello, class.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
I'm looking for something to do that demarcation for you. I'm looking for a barrel, a writing material here. Okay, now insert. Okay, there's nothing small. The first 0 here is hour. Hello. The second,
Yes, sir.
the second column, the second column where we have 08 is minute, and this last column where we have 09 is what? Second. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is why it's saying here that the average mile time overall was what? 8 minutes 9 seconds. Is it not true?
Yes, sir.
With a standard deviation of 2 minutes. Do you understand why this is 2 minutes?
Approximately.
Good. Approximated. 2 minutes. It is the same hour, minute, second. And let's look at the fastest mile time was what? 5 minutes. Even though it's saying minimum. The fastest mile time was what? 5 minutes. And the slowest mile time was what? 14 minutes. So if we say the fastest, which one is highest now? Is 14 not bigger than 5? It is. So take note of that. This is not constant. This depends on the problem you are solving. You cannot use your own. You cannot copy reports. I repeat, class, report is not copy. You cannot see report on the Google, on your Google search engine. Report is based on what you have analyzed. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. I think I'm going to draw the curtain here. My throat is dry. I need a recess, and I'm sure we also need. So, may I ask questions on what we have done today? I wish I was able to cover everything because I still have 3 analyses on this same data before I can finish the topic on comparing means. But I'm going to give you the notes, and I'll give you the data. You run the data and read the notes and make sure you know how to run this. And my assignment is going to be based on compare means. I'll give you another assignment that does not have a note, that you cannot watch my notes, but you can actually watch the video and do it, and the same process. And the other ones I have underneath, I have the process actually stated. There's what we call the next report we want to run is what? 1 layer. Another report we're going to run is what? 2 layers. And we have the report and we have the analysis there. So by the time you do your own, just compare your analysis and your report to what we have here. And if you are getting it, you continue to clap for yourself wherever you are. And if you have questions, please don't wait till when we meet. We don't have the time. Ask your question intermittently. I am happy a lot of people disturb me. Don't consider it a disturbance to you or to me. It is what I want to, I'm happy receiving from you. continue to bombard me on my WhatsApp, and I will attend to you. If I don't, hit it back again. I will definitely attend to you. And I think, let me attend to questions. I've seen some hands coming up. I think I'm going to stop the recording now, except if you want me to pick the questions as part of the content recorded, then that's fine. You can bring it up. Your point, please. Let me just stop the recording. I want to switch to the class mode.